thunder and storms down by the shore.
I really need to get
Pirates in the port of paradise. Hey, room mariners marinated, swinging one north with their heads bigger sore.
I have so much, I'm pleased with the length of my overall hair. My dreads need a little bit of maintenance, but not I don't think it's so much that I can't do it myself. Also, I have so much side hair, and it's because
Pirates in the bay, taking what they may, yarn and gold aboard, what decorates indoors, taking home decor.
Oh, okay.
Please not a word more, it's the Pirates of Paradise!
It's just like I can't do a ton with it, and we're now recording.
We're back, listeners.
So yeah, I guess we were talking a little bit about time change.
This is true. We talked about time change, haircuts, hair change, time cuts. But so I guess I have been noticing and feeling much better about the lengthening day progressively.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We're coming up on the equinox pretty soon, right? Like we must be, I suppose.
Is that the summer solstice, or is that a different thing entirely?
Oh no, the time between the two solstices in which they are the same.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think the vernal equinox is the 20th. Listeners, don't quote me on that unless I'm correct, in which case high five me, right? But
you know a dude named Vern, take him to Equinox, he'll get a free day.
I noticed that I don't really like leaving my house at night as much anymore.
That's
and I guess
understandable. Yeah.
I don't really I suppose I'll hang out with Nate in the night if it happens that I was busy earlier in the day. I'll go to a grocery store if I find that I need something. But I've found I think that I am becoming, though I lack the discipline, it is definitely better to wake up early. I think the more morning people definitely have it.
Mm-hmm.
You can just. I was talking to, I forget what this woman's name is, but she's the person who runs maintenance at the laundromat where I do my laundry.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that I get back by the time that other people are about to leave into traffic. No one's anywhere. I never have to, I'm never stuck at a light. And then people are do you need anything when I'm about to go out? And she's like, nah, I'm done at noon. And she was probably in her 50s or so. But I respect that lifestyle a lot, and I do think it's
I was thinking about how I was in my own head fantasizing about how interesting of a life it would be to be one of those cats that has 5 jobs and is just goes from one to the other. You set up your work schedule like Hermione in one of those Harry Potter books where she has the time thing that just allows her to shift time. Time Turner.
There, that's what.
yeah. But you just set up your work life like that. So you're 6 a.m. opening shift at a grocery store, and then you just get about the town at various gigs.
No, that's true.
But I feel like the type of person who does that successfully grifts across jobs, builds up a local reputation. That's a cigar lounge type of person almost.
Do you think so?
Maybe, yeah, the right type of cigar, middle income cigar lounge.
Oh, okay. This person, I guess.
I feel like cigar lounge is a different type of person than Cuban cigar on your rooftop balcony kind of person.
Of course. Yeah. I would agree with that. I almost think that what is I guess outside of sheer necessity, because it's so hard to make your way as an unskilled individual, by the standards of I guess what we would define skill as in the current American economy. I guess I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? But yeah, I don't even know. Listeners, let's put a pin in that one. But outside of necessity, I wonder why do people do that? Is it just because they is that? Do you think? If let's say you're in a situation in which you're working 5 jobs, if you're that dude, are you doing that because you don't you just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think about what that life, what I would be like if I lived that life.
Yeah, you just have 100% you've achievement hunted all the games on Steam, and you're well, I guess I have this time now.
That's fair, but I guess you're maybe if you're someone maybe that like yeah, I imagine if you if you were like going to live to 200, you could for sure spend like 30 years just fucking around like that, 100%.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when I say,
that'd be enjoyable, I think. Just like
well,
the sort of like meet people jobs where you're like, oh, like when you're connected to like yeah, so like when you're 30 in this 200-year scenario, you
yeah,
fuck around until you're 60,
hmm
moving boxes and like Grubhub
yeah,
driving. And
exactly,
like Grubhub driving would be a pretty decent way to like just learn the architecture of a city or something. And then maybe you do like
surely,
a tour guide or you're like a real estate agent because you're like, I've been to all these homes.
no,
These are the people
exactly,
that
like
tip.
yeah.
This is where you want to
And
live.
to a certain extent, do you think that's what politicians do? Do you think they do like the poli sci major equivalent of that until someone's like, you could be president? And it's like, yeah, well, I guess I know all these people.
That is interesting because there are definitely people who like because I've had the same job like I've in my work history I've had the same job for like at least 2 years minimum
Mhm.
at both of the jobs I've worked except for the one that I worked concurrently with my like grocery job. Um, but there are people who
Yeah,
who
yeah,
like shift out of that business like in 3 month cycles, right? Like
Mhm.
in most of those jobs have like pretty high turnover. Just people looking
that's
for
true.
something while they go do something else. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, because I guess I was in the same boat before I was in my current bout of degenerate joblessness. I yeah, I essentially only had jobs outside of that other salad sandwich restaurant that I went to
Hmm.
for like a day. I've never been like John. I wish you had seen this Panera. It was so bad. It was so awful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But outside of that single evening, I guess before I had returned to, or I guess before I had left Pittsburgh because of COVID originally, I guess I had worked continuously, and I think that like, well, the only a job that I had in between Bahama Breeze and present was I was a cat who asked people about their electric bills periodically, and the reason I was only there for like a month or so, I trained for like a week and I worked there for like 3 weeks. And the reason I stopped doing that, I guess, is one because I was someone in the midst. I guess, I am currently in the category of dude looking for semi-skilled work, right? Because I'm a semi-skilled dude.
Hmm.
But I left that job because it was just super demoralizing. And like it even like it paid all right. It's just it requires a constitution that I found that I did not have.
Hmm.
Uh, and so I think that like I'm trying to think about like the categories of essential workers because those are the people who are like the people who are working 5 jobs are all doing essential jobs, I
I
suppose
think
currently.
honestly, just like the difference between somebody who works in a fast food business and somebody who owns a fast food business is like that scale itself is sort of interesting to me. Like I don't
How so?
it's
Like
like I don't know how many food service jobs you could work until you can afford your own like restaurant or something.
none of them. If like
Maybe
even if
not
you
none of
have
them. Maybe
like
not none of them. Like
well,
you probably have to be at like the highest tier of that. Right? Like if you're like a sous chef in a kitchen that like that sort of functions more like an apprenticeship maybe. But
that's
even then
true.
you might not own your
But
restaurant so much as like because I
I
guess
guess
you can just get loans and stuff for that type of
may
thing.
I would place the thing that's happening in my head currently is I'm thinking that I think that would be a different category of job though because I imagine if you're like a sous chef at the type of restaurant that's bumping enough that maybe you have enough clout that you could open your own place like someone's willing to invest with you in that or you can get a loan to open a second place etc and this person's like you should run the kitchen over there. I guess that's like a skilled position. You probably have a degree if you do that like and I think that in fact, I would maybe define fast food as a restaurant at which most of the people who work there do not have a degree relevant to food service or
Yeah.
hospitality.
There's at least some sort of
So,
certification in that labor process that needs to
oh,
occur, I think.
like getting like serve safe or
Well,
whatever.
that's like one element of it, but I would on it like yeah, just saying like I know my knives, I know my cuts. I don't
Mhm.
know. Maybe you have a little bit more detailed experience than like being a prep cook. Like you're like, oh, I was a butcher. I can
Yeah,
point
yeah,
out
yeah.
on the animal all the sections of meat or whatever.
No, I can find you a good one. Fair,
I can draw a
because
tenderloin on your body. I can.
that's if you're a butcher in the audience, that's really solid foreplay. We're giving you tips for free.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
beef
so
tips.
yeah, so I guess you're like a really capable prep person, and the listeners, John's a very capable prep person. So if do you think? And I guess this is all hypothetical, but I'm trying to think is if like and well and also restaurants are really open right now, so that's not even that's another thing. Or well, I guess
Yeah.
what are restaurants open now? I
I
don't go
I
outside. I don't go to restaurants.
I think they are. Like their dining rooms are open, at least.
Fair.
But yeah, it is
The
weird because like
yeah.
I've never necessarily been like a restaurant dude, like where eating in the building is even something that I care about.
Hmm.
But Grubhub delivery fees are a bitch. That's the only reason. That's the only
That's true.
reason. But I still like a good Grubhub meal.
Yeah. I I honestly really like the restaurant experience. I guess mostly I don't go to restaurants currently because it's more cost effective to cook your own food, as we all know. The
These are true.
I also guess I when I if I were to splurge on myself, I would splurge in a different way. Like I would have bought like I guess food's very consumable. I feel like I yeah I don't know. I guess
Yeah.
yeah yeah
Splurge on
yeah
parts or
yeah.
fabriques.
Say that one more time.
Splurge on parts or fabriques.
Ooh yeah yeah yeah. Parts
Yeah.
or fabrics, and the it's not that I was going to say that I don't exactly have a reason to go to a restaurant, but
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I
the
feel like going to a restaurant by yourself feels like a strange move for sure. But like
yes,
going with people I can understand.
100%, 100. I and I guess this is the people activities are occur less frequently, but I definitely see the appeal of a sit down restaurant. I think it's for people who've like more. I don't know. I think restaurants are definitely like they're a bougie concept, surely.
Oh
Definitely
yeah,
thinking
yeah, yeah. It's
about it.
like you couldn't. How about you make me food? And
Because it's like a lot of times it's not even food that you don't know how to make. Like if we were to talk about Solid Boys, love Solid Boys, yes, but did they make anything that you couldn't make?
oh wow, a hot dog.
Yeah, like
No, I
oh
mean even their sauce, right? They have all the ingredients in a bucket for their sauce, and those are the
yeah,
condiments they
it's
offer. I'm
just
like, well, gonna bring in a water jug, walk out with a cup full of solid sauce.
hell yeah. Do you? I very frequently think about I do like there are some things that I appreciate about having worked in food service. I guess
Hmm.
like well like there I don't know that there are many people who might be that's my vibration. Oh. I don't know that there are many people who have. I feel like you're capable of running a kitchen. I feel like there is a certain amount of I don't know like food safety and preparation logistics that you don't really get. Like if you never enter a kitchen, it's really easy for the process of making food to remain like a hard mystery. Like
Yeah,
I think because there are people our age who don't cook food very frequently for their own selves. Not to shit
yeah,
on those people, but like
yeah.
and
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 maybe
that's always
maybe
like
maybe
that seems
that's
like a real.
where
Yeah, oh so yeah.
I guess like where does it start? Like, do you think that like how old do you think the job of food service is? Like where it's like, hey, we're like at any given time, like
I don't think the
was
people
there
did it by.
was there a time
I,
where most or like yeah, like greater than 25% of people were just like, yeah, no, I don't do that food thing.
Sir, oh yeah, that's
I
a really
guess
good
like
question
where in the
because
labor specialization sort of continuum did that occur?
that's different. Like food service as distinguished from agriculture, and I guess that's essentially that question is like how many people have, I guess, housekeepers or house cooks, consensually or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean,
Some
but
of those
like,
people might be shackled, but
was there just like a Neanderthal? Like, I don't crack bones. I don't use
no,
open
exactly,
fire.
yeah.
Like,
And because I guess before humans were before people were as globalized as they are currently, but before people were globalized, yeah, before people were as globalized as are currently, presumably you only had like you lived in a place where there happened to be like six edible things, and then you figured out how to make those taste as good as possible, and that was your cuisine. So I guess that restaurants definitely probably that's a really good question
yeah,
because
like
the
I
heyday
don't
of
leaven
fast food.
bread. I don't. I don't. I don't pick grains.
No,
I guess like there's some element of that. Like, I guess there are places that are resource plentiful enough that you could just sort of like be walking along the road and be like, that's an orange on a tree. Guess it's orange time.
Yeah, yeah, fair. But even I guess even like our modern fruits, I like have been like require like a lot of. I guess that observation would be at like the beginning of like the gathering process that feeds back into a domesticated crop or
Hmm.
whatever. But would you say that we live in like the heyday of fast food, like the heyday of fast food?
Yeah,
Question mark.
like
Or,
no questions, no questions
okay,
about it.
yeah. And so I would say that like when did McDonald's start becoming or become a thing? Like probably the '60s? Question mark.
Yeah, I want to say it might even be like from the 50s, but like probably really expanded in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and yeah, especially like post 2000.
May 15th, 1940. Right. So
Ooh,
I would say that really like even though that was an American diner sort of thing, I think a better because I feel like the purpose of restaurants nowadays for the most part is like you get to buy food that you couldn't cook, or at least that's for the most part why I would enter a restaurant. Like it would like I would have to Google this recipe if I were to make this thing.
and
Um,
like a lot of those foods, I don't know what category they'd fall into. Maybe just ingredients that it's hard to procure at like a local grocery store,
yeah, yeah,
um, or like material, like yeah, processing that like not everybody owns a fryer or something.
that's true. Or like if I wanted to have like a really nice bao bun or something, I can't pinch dough that intricately. You know what I'm saying? If I'm trying to have a good bao bun, I'm probably not the cat to make it. Like I think I my effort toward it would go farther if I just turned my effort into dollars and handed those to someone. But
Yeah, I bought muffins this morning, and I was very upset because I bought an assortment of muffins from a certain store, and oh, no chocolate chip muffins, just blueberry and one cinnamon coffee cake muffin.
yeah, yeah,
Real
yeah,
shame,
yeah.
real shame.
Honestly, the chocolate chip muffin's a sleeper muffin. It really is a good muffin,
It's a good,
and I think that's
it's a
mostly
good
because
fucking
chocolate's
muffin.
delicious.
It's a Dunkin' brand muffin with just I don't even know what the fuck is on top of it. I thought it was sugar, but it's just crystal. Has very little flavor.
Yeah, like it's just grit. Like it's
It's just grit. Yeah, like it doesn't taste that sweet. It the muffin top is very it looks like it's encrusted with whatever that rock is. Oh, by the way, I think I remember if we discussed this, but I watched Uncut Gems for the first time.
oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, I recommend it. I recommend it highly. I'll
Heard.
give none of the details away. Save it for the next episode.
Okay, okay, okay.
Whoa, whoa. But it's I was not expecting the content of the film because it's like an Adam Sandler movie, but it's not an Adam Sandler movie. It's like a little grittier. But I feel like if you
Heard.
go into it with the expectation that it's like humorous, it almost makes it even better. So
Oh yeah, surely. Isn't Lakeith Stanfield is in that too, right? I think he is.
perhaps. But my biggest takeaway from that film was like the movie Uncut Gems. My muffin is crusted in uncut sugar, maybe very cut sugar, which is why it's
Fair,
so
fair.
dilute. But
Exactly. Too. They cut all the sugar. They cut all the sweetness out of it. It's, um, yeah. I wait. How did we get to muffins? What were we talking
I
about?
don't
Just
remember.
muffins. Oh, fucking. Wait, fucking. Restaurants, food
pastry,
service,
yeah.
fucking. Yeah. Right, bao buns. Fucking. Let me think. So, I don't know how. I don't know. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about restaurants. Do you want to spin the wheel now that we have a wheel?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a wheel. You can spin a wheel
Hold
now.
on, give me a second. Let me take everything out.
This most exciting addition to the podcast, courtesy entirely of Quinn Crayon, local maker.
We're almost there. I'm really. Oh! We were almost there. It was almost perfect. It's definitely the first one. There it is. Oh my gosh, my beverages. Captain's quarters, I guess? Alright, so
Captain's quarters.
I honestly, I flipped my camera once too many. I honestly don't exactly remember what Captain's quarters.
Fuck! I didn't know.
Yeah. So, listeners, we're working on this whole. We are improving the production value of the podcast progressively. By episode 800, you'll be like, where I can't even understand the quality of. But I will take Captain's quarters at this. We can just check. We could definitely just check.
We can definitely just check. I can do that.
Yeah. Maybe my laptop is going to. Oh, no. I thought I was going to take a hot second to boot, but it's behaving.
Let's see. Pull up the Pirates Google Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Edited in the past year. This. Let's see. Talking about the pod on the pod. Heads or tails of. What the fuck does that mean?
I guess so. That's where we would do like housekeeping. I guess.
So in housekeeping, I guess it's been a while since we've done a pod.
That's true.
So we can make this an excuse segment. It may be our most used segment. So the reason we haven't been on the pod, our shipping license was revoked. We had to deal with the U.S. Coast Guard. We've been floating off the coast of Aruba. Some of our crew decided to hop off in Miami Beach for spring break. And now I'm hearing a Vlad TV video in the background.
The part that always...
Fuck.
It's the... Oh my gosh. It's the... Well, so I guess as far as... Honestly, I don't know.
The number of spring breakers that have returned this year, despite COVID, or not despite, but probably because of COVID, substantial. The people who are like, fuck it. Oh, there are many, not in terms of like percentage, but in terms of people that I am familiar with that are like sort of in my peer network. Whole bunch are like, fuck it. I just turned 21. I was 19 when this shit started. We're going to Miami and Aruba and just fucking all over the world. Just fuck it, which I respect. What I was thinking about doing with my STEMI money was just buying a plane ticket to Oslo to get my head tattooed.
Honestly, there are much worse moves, John, than making it spontaneous. There really are. So, I do really feel another. So I guess if I were to give like a concrete reason for why the podcast hasn't been happening, it's because of mental illness. No, it's just
No.
these are difficult times, dog. What are you gonna do a podcast that I would listen to all the time? No offense to you listeners. Like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell if you wish to continue seeing this. I honestly think we're really we're offering pretty good podcast content.
Find us on Substack.
Yeah. Like but I feel like an aspect of like something I've been going through, a problem that I've been working through is like I'm trying to figure out how to re-enter academia for a period of time because I think it might be necessary for me or just to live a life that I'm cool with. And I just noticed in that, like, I forgot that spring break happened. I really forgot that was a thing that happened. And I guess I wasn't even like a university student when I began my tertiary education, but I definitely do feel a little alienated from the college process and like I don't know,
I have heard. I was listening to a pod of sorts earlier that was talking about how like the college gap in sort of educational opportunity / attainment correlates like pretty strongly with like political alignment, at least among young people. And like part of the noted like perspective shift was like just between like you turn 18 and you go get a job, how different your worldview it probably like how different you think your life looks or what you think is possible in your life looks versus when you're just like chumming around with a bunch of other 20-year-olds with that. And so like how sort of like societal division happens in that way pretty early on. I don't know. I definitely like the sort of like Andrew Yang style approaches where it's like, let's maybe not radically shift the like output of universities, but like do make a lot of it more skill based, or at least integrate it with other like essentially just jobs programs. Like I like that sort of style because that's like what Germany does, I think, and it's pretty effective.
But I think that's pretty valid. And I guess I wonder, like, I don't know, even like just not having I've only not been a student for like 8 or 9 months or so. Like maybe, no, I'm going to say it's 8 or 9. I was going to say maybe 10, but I'm pretty sure it's not 10.
And that's, to be fair, there's plenty of people who have taken like gap years in the last year because they didn't want to do online shit. And
truly.
Yeah. So you're right there with them.
No, this is true. I guess I don't know. It's very, my particular situation is that I haven't been a good student on paper in a very long time. Or, yeah. But I think that I don't know, because I know that, I don't know. I'm just trying to think about, because I guess I don't really know what the general problems with becoming a university student again are outside of my particular problems. And so, I really don't even know. But
Oh, also,
go
ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, do you ever like? I hate how job listings are allowed to ghost you. It's fucked up. It sucks so bad.
I should have a divine right to interview with anyone on the planet upon my application.
Divine right.
Divine right. Listen, I should be able to show up in a vest, wielding a box cutter, and be able to threaten them into an interview. Just be like, hey, listen, the answer might be no, but I need to hear it from your lips.
Just say it. Just say it to my fucking face. Like, let me, like, you, like, I like, there's some gaps in my resume. Let me explain them. Talk to me. I swear. Like, if I could just get a good interview, I would go I would say, John, we have to end the podcast, and I would find someone to alter one of my suits. I would spend the rest of my money getting one of those suits altered, so I could go in there crisp as fuck, and you would have to give me the job. And I think that's the reason they ghost you, because they know that you're a human being who can do things, and they feel bad.
Oh my gosh, yeah. If if the rejection email had to be like at least a phone call or like a FaceTime or something, you have to
Exactly. Like, hi,
FaceTime me
how are
at
you?
9 p.m. after I'm fresh off the shower with my PJs on. You gotta tell me you're not gonna sleep tonight. You didn't get the job.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you better, you better fucking, you better split that meal in your fridge into two. like, like you better, like you see those gummies, those are gonna be your fucking last, because you're not hired. And I hate, like, it's okay. I won't say that I hate it. It seems counterproductive. It makes me less enthusiastic about entering the workforce. Which is the opposite of what you want, both for yourself and for the people who would like to use your skills to make money.
I might even
It's
amend this by saying I think it's upsetting that I can't buy a number of vehicles that come with parking spots. I would like to not pay any money towards rent, just funnel my entire income into like a fleet of vehicles, which I can which I can park and staple together and variously attach at the
oh,
rear
surely,
the rear little
like
bit.
interconnected RVs, like very advanced RVs.
Yeah, and then just sort
They're
of
like
caravan across the town.
that would be the way to do it. It really would be.
Yeah.
And I honestly like I think sometimes about van people, and I know a lot. I won't say I know a lot of people. I know like one dude who's like living in a van would be really sick. And I've seen like people. I've seen Gen Z people. A lot of Gen Z people like gravitate toward that lifestyle online, and I do. I wonder how much of that is related to the fact that like one, because okay, a lot of Gen Zers are super unprepared to be self-sufficient. It's probably super duper difficult, like to be seriously self-sufficient. Like I am shitting on those people, and I am shitting on the people who are unprepared, but I am not prepared. So surely like I'm not at the highest in this pecking order of being able to survive from the land. But I wonder how connected that fantasy is to the like because what jobs can we get as Gen Z people who don't have degrees yet, right? Just doing bullshit, being treated shitty. Like, and then I get like, okay, not all the time, but like a lot of there is a fair amount of bullshit, and you do get treated shitty sometimes. And so I wonder if the idea of owning a van and being self-sufficient is like the idea of leaving the system and owning something of value finally connected.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. Like, no, I'm on the books. I'm registered. I pay I pay licensing fees in 50 states.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I
still
like
cheaper than a mortgage with interest.
this is true. This is true. And like I was
DMV
thinking,
offices all over the country know me. They love me.
oh no, yeah, exactly. I changed. I got a plate for every state. But the I was just talking with Nate earlier today about the like I was thinking the other day like man what assets of value do I have. And I think that I mean like I don't know like do you ever do like I guess a raw assessment of the assets that you own that aren't I guess like actively depreciating question mark.
I don't know if I have anything I could even list as an asset.
Exactly, John.
And you know what? Here's the thing. My parents, I don't think they do either. Because, like, your home isn't considered an asset, like, legally. I don't think your vehicle is either. I think once you start owning, like, a plethora of them, it may be. Like, if you own, like, a rental home, it might be an asset or
That's true.
something
Yeah, I
with, like,
can we say
business
that or
deductible
I'm
expenses. But I'm actually kind of in favor of, like, individual, like, income tax depreciation type shit. Like, to be able to deduct like car expenses like a business can, that'd be so nice.
oh oh yeah 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 just like you don't understand this is a burden owed by ability to be a productive citizen from an economic perspective.
Oh yeah, like if you live in like Ohio or someplace and you're like, I can't get to a job that pays me without a vehicle.
Yeah, I really can't like or yeah yeah I do think that would be very reasonable.
And this is
And
all
so
cost on my end to get there and participate in the economy. So I don't know.
yeah. Oh, but so for the purposes of this conversation, can we like just so we're on the same page? Can we call like an assets like I don't know an artifact of some kind that you could use to produce money? I guess that you could exchange for a currency of some sort.
Oh, like something that can produce some. I think that'd be like capital or something.
Oh, heard. Okay, okay.
But yeah, I don't
So
know.
because I feel like I don't know
But
about like the
you
legal
get like
precedent, but part of me is like
depreciation credit on that too. I think.
Wait, say that one more time.
I think you can get depreciation credit on like machines though too. So like if you
Oh,
you have like a 3D printer now, right?
I do.
So like at the point where you start using that to make money, oh, like do you know like the whole NFT thing?
I do.
Okay,
We should
so
talk about
we should
this.
talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Interestingly, like a whole bunch of people will like they'll list like 10 of them for sale, and then once they sell one, they can write off
Oh,
the other nine as loss, and be
yeah,
like,
right, right. To quote Tim Dillon, oh, it's a tax scam.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's a fucking. But yeah, so I do. That is something to consider because I guess I don't know. I
So
was
like there's
the reason.
interesting stuff with like
Mhm.
depreciation tax because you get the full credit, right? So you could claim like 100% of the depreciation you want in a single year, but then you wouldn't be able to claim it for other years. So if you wanted to, like a 10% reduction in your tax bill every year, you could just take 10% of whatever your thing was, your operating expenses were, and then
Mhm.
apply it gradually, or you could just do it all at once. And there are benefits to saying like buying a new car and being like, nah, machine broke. I'm gonna need about $40,000 right now
No,
in
I'm done. Like,
depreciation credit.
dude, I got it. It's the only way I can't. My factory of me working at Subway only works if my machines.
And then you use that money that you got back to increase the size of your fleet, and then
Yeah. So I guess. Well, hold on. Before we move into NFTs, I guess I wanted to
oh, that was
like.
really all I had to say. I don't know.
Oh, no, no, no! I don't know anything about the Bible. We're gonna speculate wildly. That's the plan. But
NFT stands for not fucking telling.
uh, but the what percentage of people in our age category? All right, so I'm 21. John, you are 20.
Yes.
What percentage of the people in this year of our life own things that, like own assets? I guess,
I
like
don't
assets.
know. None of them with from like real shit that they've done, I'm sure. But like
Yeah,
TikTokers, Viners,
no, that's not real. Someone's
that's not.
paying you, but that's not real.
Yeah, I know, right? Like David Dobrik. I think we discussed this off the air. I've seen a number of videos. Oh no, and like Mr. Beast and shit. Like just all the videos that are like, I'm giving away a house for $1. I'm giving away bags of money. I'm like, how the fuck? This is sponsored by.
Why not
This
do
is
that in
sponsored by.
Pennsylvania?
This is sponsored by Mobile Legends. Get it on the App Store and Google Play.
Oh no, I do. I would like to. Can we swear never to have a game sponsor? Now, listen, if a game decides to sponsor us, especially if it's like some sort of pirate, like oceanic naval game, whatever, honestly, we should probably take that for the purposes of having more money.
Oh yeah, I
Probably.
will play
Like,
that game exclusively on
yeah,
paper.
yeah, Captain's Quarters, like if to finish the Captain's Quarters segment, for sure I would be willing to shill out for that sort of thing,
Captain's
right?
quarters. The captains will get these quarters.
Exactly, exactly, because captains are in need of quarters.
Yeah, yeah.
But how else are you going to keep your, you need those doubloons to keep your pantaloons clean.
We're gonna
But
keep doubloon our wealth.
I honestly, dog, I was gonna pretend. I think I was going to like. I guess I actually feel really neutral about games. I think that like certain sponsors are definitely certain sponsorships definitely seem a little bit chilly, and I think that. But I guess we aren't really, or at least I personally do not perceive us as being in a. I don't know if we're the podcast to be picky about our sponsors. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if we're those
I
dudes.
mean,
I feel like we could have a lot
you
of fun.
slowly build. You slowly build. You start with a flashlight and a
Exactly.
blue chew. You end up with a buy Raycon.
That's it. I think the coolest. Ideally, you would sponsor your own self. I do think that like that is when you can afford to. I guess when you can afford to market the things that you actually work on is when you're really making it. But speaking of really making it, I suppose NFTs seem like super duper fatty. I guess my understanding of them is that for you can name a price in I guess you could name a price in Ethereum essentially for a token representing a creative work that is available to the public, but is quote unquote owned by one individual? Question mark.
Yeah, something like that.
And so, listen to a bunch of Tim Dillon podcasts. That
Mhm.
guy's pretty funny. He really is. he's really a real riot. He should be on the podcast. Please be on the podcast. But we should tweet this at him. But I don't have a Twitter. Who uses fucking Twitter? Anyway, Tim Dillon, invite us onto Clubhouse.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I know.
No.
I'm just waiting. I've told you about like the weird like heroin dude who like just will DM me sometimes, but who followed me from Tim Dillon's page.
Yeah.
He followed me home. He did. He's underneath my floorboards. No, but if he can get me on a Clubhouse, honestly, like it's a trip to New York. It's a
Oh no, I'm sure it's over. I'm sure it would be over. Listeners, I don't think, because I really want to level with them. This is really, I didn't know how deep into the captain's quarters we were going to get. But and I mean this, I'm not kidding even a little bit. There's a huge amount of potential floating around within our circles, right? And honestly, we're like 5 good days away from being the next thing, just from disrupting the culture irrevocably. And like 5 really specific good days. Don't mind you. Not like if we're going over just daily iterative improvement, it'll probably take years. Anything worthwhile doing takes years. But let's say we got super lucky. We're like this close. And I'm saying that one of those things could really be a Clubhouse invite. And like someone's like,
this is your invitation to leave quietly.
Some fucking venture capitalist is like, you know what? That's a really good point. He's like, what if
You can
we have a
sell
secret
our
13
podcast as an NFT.
Like, okay, but oh yeah, so what is the? I guess we could do a little bit of live research, but I don't really understand the like. I think you could make an NFT that's valuable because I only read one article, right? But in this article, it seemed that you could have your NFT somehow arranged so that you got a percentage of. So I know that like Soulja Boy is selling songs as music of some sort as an NFT, right? And so maybe you could configure that in a way where like you, John, own the rights to Soulja Boy's fucking whatever.
I don't think it's
right?
even like that. Like I don't think it's even you own the rights to it.
I think in most cases it's not, but I think like I honestly
don't think there's like any sort of like intellectual property transfer that occurs with it, which is weird as fuck.
No, that's exactly what I'm trying
Like you
to
could
get.
you could possibly own the NFT and like play the music in a video and it would still get pulled or some shit.
That exactly. So I don't know. I feel like there might be a like. I like the idea of an NFT because like if I could like let's say we put together a collection of sea shanty poetry, right? We call it the POP songbook. We put that out as an NFT. We say that NFT is worth $500 just because it is. Like just it's a bunch of effort, you know. Like we really do it. What would I think that maybe for people at like our level, if we could get people to bid that amount and then assign a value that we are pleased with to our creative works, then that would be good for us maybe. But that also seems like there's like someone just paid for you to publish something you're already going to publish, you know, or not even. Someone just paid you just to pay.
I was
Someone paid
rewatching
you
like
so you
an
could put
old
a tax game.
Neil deGrasse Tyson clip where he's talking about like Elon Musk, and he was just talking about like yeah, I think it's great what he's doing. He's like the Edison of our fucking time or some shit. Just in terms of like having a bit like a massive financially successful business that focuses on science and technology. But he's like, yeah, there's some like issues with the Securities and Exchange Commission, but like if he wants to do what he wants with his company, then he can just keep it private. And I felt like there was some connection to NFTs there, but I'm not sure the exact through point.
Because I guess if you wanted to, because I feel like if you want to like give your intellectual property value, you just do a transaction with someone. Like there's no reason for that to be a public affair ?
Yeah.
And then making it like because this is a connection that I'm drawing for what you said. I'm not sure this is what you were saying at all. But
go for it.
I guess the like my thing with making there's an unavoidable the aspect of the token that's non-fungible is it seems to be valueless. Like the like it's not like I can prove that this is really like John Woods wrote these words. I can prove it. It's not that sort of non-fungibility. It's that you could prove that you paid someone for that intellectual content that everyone else can access, I guess.
Huh.
And so it being like a public, like I guess it seems like a social credit system, like a weird sort of like creative centered credit system of some kind. I don't know, man. It seems like really pointless. It seems like,
It seems like
yeah.
I owe American Express $10,000 plus interest on the NFT collection I bought.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a good password type. But so I'm gonna Google one really quickly because there seems like unless people are already okay. We're gonna go to Wikipedia. This is we should have made a section on the wheel for reading from Wikipedia. Why did that's a missed opportunity. I might make it do this. Okay, but a non-fungible token is a digital file whose unique identity and ownership are verified when a blockchain. Okay, right. So NFTs are not mutually interchangeable. So I can't like if you have the Lindsay Lohan NFT and I have a billion Pirates of Paradise NFTs, I can't trade you that because I think the single Lindsay Lohan NFT I think went for like 17K or
Oh
something.
yeah, I saw some shit like that.
Yeah. So let's say let's say that we have I don't know, like we could have like 34 $500 Pirates of Paradise tokens that would be roughly equivalent, but we wouldn't be able to exchange them. Okay. The NFTs are commonly created by uploading files to an auction market. This creates copies of the files which are recorded as NFTs on the digital ledger. This is mainly used to transfer instead of the cryptocurrency. The tokens can then be bought with cryptocurrency and resold. So, wait. NFTs can be used to commodify digital creations such as art, video games, music files. Access to any copy of the file original, however, is not restricted to the owner of the token. Yeah, I don't.
It looks like somebody looked at NFTs as like, how can we create the opposite of money?
Yeah, man. Like you're this. If no offense, okay. So I don't know if anyone who listens to this has bought an NFT, but I'm not saying it seems like you just gave someone your money. I'm not saying that you just bid on someone liking you, but it does seem eerily it seems eerily like you might have just paid someone to think, oh man, thanks for giving me all that money.
Oh my, yeah. It seems like you might have just GoFundMe somebody's IRS tax evasion case.
Because so hear me out. If I made 100%, I think that's really possible, and no one that's actually honestly are you committing a crime if if we say that we need $150,000 to mint the Pirates Paradise EFT, right? And then we say that we intend to mint let's say we take that $100,000 and we get 5, right? If we sell one, if we say that our goal is to mint and sell NFTs, have we committed any crimes? I don't think we've committed any crimes. It seems like we've just done legal things.
Oh, what I have noticed this year is that there are states in which like Bitcoin exchanges like BitConnect, all the various ones, Gemini, they can't operate. But this year I think another couple states just pulled like a shit ton of cryptocurrencies because they're like, oh shit, you can't just mint money against the US dollar.
Yeah.
Also, apparently, like the feds own like a couple $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, like $100 billion worth of Bitcoin from like raiding the Silk Road. So like the FBI is probably one of the richest countries just based on their assets.
Oh, surely which is definitely like it's not. That's not. I don't want to say that that's sort of terrifying and unsettling, but that's weird, right?
Well,
That's
here's
strange.
the thing: if you want to investigate my house, but you want to buy it for me, you want to FB buy it for me. You can FB have your eyes all over it. I won't put any curtains up. I don't give a shit.
No, exactly. I honestly, that would be really like, what if you could be a spy right? And hear me out. It's just that you sell the right to the information that you experience to the FBI. Like, John, 200K a year. We just tap your senses. We just know everything that you know.
We're just
We know what's in your
we're just
fridge. We
building a
know who walks by
collective
your house.
intelligence. Yeah. And you're a node in that network.
Exactly. That would be really interesting. And honestly,
People just pay you, like, in addition, your side hustles, they'll just blindfold you at like parties and be like, what criminal shit's going on right now? What's, you can hear it, you can smell it. Oh God, can you smell it?
that would
But
be
you can't.
if we were to ever write a detective novel, that would be super. Like, your job is that you're a narc, but you're actually you are a criminal. You're a hobbyist criminal, but you're professional. You're a professional narc. That's like how you have to write your journal in code that you think means one thing, but someone else interprets this code in a different way, and you're orchestrating crimes. But you have to, yeah. I think that would be fun. I think that would be a very fun writing exercise. Hold on, I'm trying to. NFTs mostly run on a proof of work blockchain, which is less energy efficient than a proof of stake blockchain. I assume that's just because there's code that runs differently, and one runs on your computer in a way that uses less fossil fuel. That's just clarification for myself. But so, the British AI artist Memo Tankin created an online CO2 calculator to criticize the unreasonable carbon footprint for Ethereum-based NFTs. Ah, interesting. Oh yeah, because I guess that is one of the problems with cryptocurrencies, blockchains, or problems, quote unquote problem. One of the complexities related to those, I guess, is that they're all dependent on heavy duty computer processing, which is super duper energy intensive, which, because of the nature of pretty much how all the electricity is produced, requires a lot of fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm.
I
There's also some protocols, like I think Bitcoin Zero, that have like a emission neutral protocol, but I'm not sure what that even means.
Yeah, I honestly think it's not our bag. No one okay. So a hot take is a hot take that we should worry less about carbon emissions and maybe worry more about energy scarcity? Question mark.
Yeah.
To the extent that we can sequester carbon and other greenhouse gases from the air, but it's just super duper energy intensive to do so, and that the primary reason that we burn fossil fuels, and I guess there's serious geopolitical tension surrounding deposits of fossil fuels, is because those, for the most part, are the most efficient way for you to get your energy from anywhere else.
Also, like, I don't know what, there was like some aspect of the Yang campaign that was talking about, like, I don't fucking know what it was, but that one mineral that you're supposed to be able to use, like, for like a clean nuclear reactor.
Oh, thorium.
Thorium. Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the. I honestly
but
don't
like,
know
yeah,
what
we
the.
should for sure keep dumping money into R&D on that, because that seems super
Oh, definitely,
promising.
because I'm not saying that all the energy scarcity is R&D, but I am saying that probably most of it is. I think for the most part, climate change is a real issue. It's a real issue to the extent that it's yeah, and I'm not going to elaborate on that. It's a real issue, but I think that the mindset that, at least that I've noticed that exists within circles that I run in, is that you're bad for polluting. More so man, we should figure out it's more you have to pollute if you want to live in an industrialized society, and you want to live in one of those because you live longer. You do.
Mm-hmm.
And so the mindset, I guess that it seems like we should pivot from that to a man, let's stop using energy in this toxic way. Let's really go. Let's really figure out how to stop.
I mean, there just seem like so many other human behavioral protocols that you could curtail that are equally as energy inefficient, like traffic, or
Yeah,
or
dude, food waste. How much food do you ever throw away? When you cook an egg, right? Ideally, when you cook an egg, there's very little egg left in your pan, right?
oh yeah.
But I wonder how many people could be fed if we figured out how to be more efficient with our food. That's a big ass problem. Think about that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess when I say that's not exactly that's kind of distal to well, I was going to say it's sort of distal to energy production, but really it's not, because hypothetically you could solve that with a bunch of embedded sensors and artificial intelligence and shit like that. And it's like, John, that's enough onions, dog. You're going to waste. If you put even one more piece of onion in there, it's going to waste. And we're trying to feed everybody, says the artificial intelligence, right? And that hypothetically, because it's a computer-based thing, requires a lot of energy, which is still an energy scarcity problem. So I don't know, dog. I really don't know. But I guess if you think NFTs are cool, they also fucking carbon emission, so they're not cool anymore. If you thought if you thought they were cool, they're not.
The NFT stands for no fucking trees.
Yeah. That is exactly what NFT stands for. It stands for. Oh man, I can't even. I don't think I could do better than no fucking trees. I don't think I can. That's really good. But. Man.
Something else I guess we could cover in the scope of this episode. Did you watch any portion or part of the Meghan Markle Oprah interview?
No.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
I did see screenshots though.
So, John, can I ask an ignorant person's question?
Oh, absolutely.
Who is Meghan Markle?
That's a good question. So if I were the Queen of England and I were answering this question, I would be like, Meghan Markle is my son's touch of a tar brush spouse.
Oh, the woman was she an actress beforehand? Question mark. An
I
actor?
believe so. Yeah. American, part of the monarchy. I think she married Diana's kid, who
the ex-military.
The speculation was that Diana was killed because she wanted to marry like an Arab oil billionaire.
Oh.
And they were like, don't do that to the royal family.
What?
Yeah.
So, but so what was the interview? What was the context of it, I guess? Like,
I think she said like I felt suicidal. Being just being part of a royal family.
And,
yeah. Apparently there was speculation at her kid's birth or something that like the Queen and other members of the royal family were just like worried that the kid might be too dark. Which is like, I mean, the kid's mixed race, but I think they're like 3/4 white, and they're like 3/4 monarch white. So like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, they're 3/4 blue.
They're 3/4 Habsburg jawline. So like.
No, exactly. 3/4 translucent falling apart.
Yeah. And like the thing is like I get that it's like a difficult conversation and stuff because like I guess there's some contention around like blood quantum for all sorts of things where it's like I don't know is part of being Native American just practicing traditions or something like in that context or like
that's good.
Getting tribal money, is it just testing blood positive because like blood positivity or whatever was used for a while to just sort of control that population.
When you say blood positive,
what I will say is like it doesn't. I don't think Meghan Markle's getting profiled by anybody. I don't think her chauffeur is going to get pulled over and she's going to have a hard time.
Is she going to be any less? Well, hold on. Isn't she a princess by definition? Isn't that?
Yeah, she's a princess.
No, I think she'll be fine, John. Yeah. I think I was worried about her from.
Her kid could probably. I don't know if he'd be stealing candy from like a thrift store, but he could probably do that no problem.
No, I'm sure that he'll be stealing entire fortunes from lesser wealthy people.
His parents could probably still have that as like a birthday party, like set up a store for him to rob just to make him feel like a normal kid.
Exactly. Some ne'er-do-well friends that you pay very well to keep their family off the street and to be to keep your kid doing crimes well as opposed to doing crimes poorly. Oh man, what was I going to say? Oh, when you say blood testing, so is that essentially proving that you like what is I guess what is that?
So there are groups, right, that are like yeah, I guess genetic populations, whatever biomarkers are found, I guess, in your blood that are
Mhm.
associated with these groups and stuff. But like
Okay.
the idea, like where that is, I guess, a bit of an issue is where like populations have moved frequently or been forced to move frequently, and when they're in those other places, they just kind of start to mix with the surrounding populations, and so it
Yeah,
becomes like I don't know, like you could have like theoretically an entire cultural lineage of people that don't necessarily have like the blood quantum to be part of a group,
yeah,
and then like a government can be like, oh, okay, doesn't matter if you participate in all their cultural practices, you don't have like the blood points to be able
exactly.
to receive any sort of backing for that.
Yeah, that seems like it seems like a very strange practice. Something that worries me about the I don't think that I was thinking to myself yesterday. I saw well, I don't know. I saw an Instagram post about like intersectionalism. I would say that like I said yesterday, I would say that I'm a non-intersectionalist. But the it seems like at a certain point, if you were to have conversations about race that involve like for good or ill that involve or well I guess from your perspective for good or ill it seems like if you're going to have conversations about race that primarily operate via speaking about large quantities of people and the actions of or toward ethical or otherwise large groups of people, it seems like you're going to just be like you're either going to be splitting hairs at every single step or speaking in vagaries that don't really mean anything. Like, and I
Hmm.
don't really see, I guess, I don't exactly see a neat continuum between those 2 points if you continue, like, if you talk about people in terms of like the categories that they belong to, I guess.
Hmm.
Like, ish. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And like
I
even
hope,
within with
yeah,
like even if a culture is completely self-contained, the like the cultural practices will shift over time. So I don't know
exactly.
what
And
what
so,
you're supporting necessarily, but
yeah, and I don't, this is,
I mean I've heard the phrases like you should try and make sure that like misfortune is and fortune alike are like somewhat randomly distributed, like the extrema at least where
yeah,
possible. But I don't know.
yeah, they're like, yeah, that like, wait, say that statement again. I like that.
It's like something like you should make sure like the essentially like the worst and best outcomes are like to some end randomly distributed,
Yeah, I,
but
because obviously, yeah, you can be like, like bad, like actions that don't help you, let's say, or like events that don't help you, whether you're doing or otherwise, spiral you down, ones that do spiral you up. But yeah, like, yeah, I do. I'd say that's a very agreeable statement. It's a very agreeable statement.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. So maybe rather than like familial like generations of familial poverty, you're like, well, our family got managed to get a house in this generation. We came into a vehicle this generation, or like I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
something along
yeah.
those lines, perhaps. But
Because I wonder that like the problem of how you,
and then I guess the variable would be just sort of your income in addition to that, or something. I don't know. I don't know if
yeah,
that's even the best example,
I'm
but
trying to think about like the ways that because I don't know. I very like anytime I try to imagine. Well, I guess I was trying to imagine what would because we know that I guess that certain outcome that the outcomes are distributed asymmetrically. Let's say that like the and so that to a certain extent the asymmetrical distribution of the outcomes also spans like a cultural gradient, and sometimes that gradient, in addition to being just cultural, is also like ethnic, right?
mhm.
And like, I guess I was trying to think about the ways in which that could be redistributed, and I was like, anytime that I think about that sort of thing, I'm like, I guess everything would just have to be better for literally everyone, because there's no way.
Mhm.
Because I imagine that you would have to start you would have to start any improvement that you would have to make like very very low, I suppose,
Mhm.
because if you just take someone's $1 billion and give it to someone else, there's still, I guess, all that wealth is still concentrated. It's
Yeah,
just at a different spot. And so, yeah,
yeah.
I don't
There's
even know.
I was gonna say there's also like maybe So yeah, I guess continuing off of like the blood quantum point, there's like when people talked about like reparations and stuff in the United States, there's I guess like a delineation between like African American and like American descendants of slavery in terms of
Huh?
like
Is there? That
terms.
seems fucked up.
It is. I mean, yeah, it is. But
Wait, hold on, wait. I'm sorry,
well,
continue. I
I
don't
don't
mean
know.
to cut you
Well,
off.
I think yeah. So if you were to give reparations for slavery, it would be towards people with like I guess records of families held in slavery rather than just you're here and I don't know you were here from like 1970 onwards or like 2000 onward and you're
But
getting the same benefit. But I don't know. There's
like,
definitely
because
like a
that
lot of
seems fucked
other
up
shit.
conceptually.
There's like a lot of I mean you could definitely be like everything that happened from the end of slavery through Jim Crow is deserving of reparations. I don't know.
No,
There's
it's like the
and
reparation
it
issue is a
is
really
I
complicated
think
one.
it is a maybe a better um, target than just going like I don't know saying like more intersectionally that anybody who identifies as like I don't know it
As
gets weird.
No,
It
because
gets weird,
it
yeah.
is well, it is really weird. One, because whatever, I guess I would imagine that if you were to ask, well, okay, let's call no, that okay, because I was going to try and define because well, the black ethnic folk group is really complicated, and it contains like I guess a lot of like well, in addition to descendants of slaves, both or I guess descendants of African slaves and Caribbean slaves, also people from the Caribbean islands who've immigrated more recently than slavery, Jim Crow, etc.
Hmm.
And I also black people from I guess
And I guess
continental Africans and like I guess the descendants of continental Africans who live in places that aren't the U.S. There it is.
yeah,
There
yeah.
it is. There it is. No, it's so I guess
So yeah,
yeah,
we in this
yeah.
living outside the U.S. I think in this example we'd be talking about just within the United States. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly, 100%. But
But
so
I guess even within that example, you're right. Like there are other places where they're probably still like their families are probably still descendants of slavery and would probably benefit from like a reparation of sorts. Like if you're
yeah,
from
that's true.
Haiti or some shit, it's like okay, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
because to what
or just
extent?
a
Because
former British imperial power.
yeah, because I would totally. Oh, and we're gonna have to end pretty soon. My phone's
Oh,
gonna die.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
but the I would imagine that most people who identify as Black Americans believe. Well, okay, like if you were to ask me, do I believe that I deserve reparations for slavery? I would say that's a whole. I would take money if given money.
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah.
so let's run it back. And I think this year, the past year and change, has
Oh,
showed
it's
everyone
so
that you
good.
will
It's
take money if
so
you give money,
that
right?
on a broader point. I love that political speeches are just like, we'll give you $4,000 now. We'll give you $4,000 now. I'll
Which
give
is
you.
such.
It's just bidding, and I love it. Like that's what
How
you should be doing for
terrifying
my
is that?
vote. Is just like give me $10,000 now.
Just like, no, you have to. Did you sign the check? Then I don't care which Bible you set your hand on. No, but so the but my thing is, so I guess that most there are a lot of Black people who believe. I wonder if the economic disparity that overlaps with well, okay, if the economic disfortune, like the disparity of that overlaps with the Black population, I wonder what percentage of those people are would fall into the category that would receive reparations by the standard that you described
Mhm.
earlier. And the only reason that I ask is because I know I'm the sixth free generation of my family. We have fucking papers. Fuck you, right? If you don't and are listening, you got categorically speaking. But I'm not saying that doesn't mean that you deserve to have your infrastructure improved because I guess that everyone deserves to just have their infrastructure improved. And
Yeah,
it
yeah,
seems like
that's a good
doing
point.
so in a way that, like, I guess part of my hesitation is that doing so in a way that seems like political and asymmetrical probably wouldn't go the best for civil tensions, question mark.
Like,
But
I get your point that maybe bridges aren't collapsing because you're an American descendant of slavery. They're collapsing
exactly.
because we haven't upgraded our infrastructure since the New Deal. Um,
Yeah. And
But with like
it
with
seems
some environmental factors like lead paint in houses, I'm pretty sure that's something that has like more like a stronger correlation with like African American communities in the U.S. And
yeah,
like
like what like so what percentage of I imagine we could help a bunch of black people who are like, we're just building new housing everywhere. Like everywhere, we're just building new housing that doesn't give you cancer.
And like
Yeah,
like
just
that's
like it's
such a good, just finding shit for people to do is such a good idea.
no,
Right?
it really is.
Like as a government, just be like, hey, stop fucking, I don't know, walking
And
around doing
honestly,
nothing, being angry. We'll give you
and the
some cash and a place to sleep. Just you have to
exactly.
build it. We'll give you the materials.
Yeah, and like there's such a large homelessness problem, like, and like that would be like if we were just like, it's like if because we can build things so well nowadays, and there's never a shortage of things to be done in the United States. Anyway, I think that's a good enough place to Eddie
That's
to
decent. Oh,
yeah. Do you have anything that you would like to plug?
I do not. I do not have any plugs at the moment. What about yourself?
Listeners, I also I don't think I posted it on my Instagram even in 2021. Listeners, make sure that you subscribe to the Pirates of Paradise podcast. Make sure you turn on your notifications, especially if we happen to disappear for a couple weeks.
Mhm.
You're really gonna want to stay tuned, because you're really gonna want to.
We got a wheel now. We got a wheel now.
Oh yeah, we have a fucking wheel. That transition's gonna be so much smoother next time. I'll actually have shit not on my desk. It'll be tight.
Pirates of Paradise. Thank you for listening. Peace.
Thank you.